Oh my goodness, I feel like it's such big pressure to introduce a podcast.
Never
Welcome
done it before. It's first time for everything.
to,
You're up.
well, I can do my intro. Welcome everyone to episode number, I don't know,
I think it's like 10 or 11.
podcast. Is it 10 or 11?
Yeah. You're breaking
Yeah, I
up a
think
little
we're
bit
double
right too.
digits. Yeah. Now you might need to remove your AirPods.
Yeah, you might need to go back to non-earpod.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah, you're spotty.
What are these little percentages? 9%,
How's this?
89%. See these in the top left?
I don't know. Okay, go for it.
Do I have to start again from the top?
Podcast is rolling.
Okay,
Always has been.
from the top.
From the top.
Welcome everyone to episode number, I'm going to go with 10. It's a nice round number of the Huge Natural Podcast. This week, we're going to talk about what do people mean when they say, I have no time? Whether it be to start working out, start a new hobby. Everyone has said this at one point or another, like I'm as guilty as anybody else. But yeah, what do we mean when we say I have no time?
Yeah. Yeah, and expounding on it, and if we have no time because we're all busy and we all have big boy and big girl jobs, how do we make the time, and what are some strategies that we could share that's worked for us in the past and get people moving on the I don't have time excuse?
I gotta say, I just appreciate both of you so much because I was just watching your faces talk about this, and I was thinking about how I'm watching you, and I'm thinking about this topic, and I'm like, wow, we're gonna have such different approaches to this answer. I'm gonna go into like the sciencey bullshit. Bryn's gonna give her anecdotes, and then Alex is gonna be the person who's like Mr. Hopeful optimist.
I don't know, this one.
Giving like the best possible advice to somebody who's like walking into the gym the first time, like some real life advice.
Yeah,
It's just so
you
funny because
can
like I know this is
do
how
it.
it's gonna play out. So yeah,
I don't know. This is kind of the one I have the least patience with, to be honest with.
well, go on. Why?
Because I'm a big, I will admit that we all do have finite time. We all have things we have to do, whether it's families, getting kids to and from school, to and from practices. I gotta prep for them, make their meals. I have a dog that needs walking. Like, I understand that all of these things. I have a real job too, and I need, the gym is just more time out of my day. Um, then my big thing is, okay, yes, you are currently full. In order to establish this healthy habit or to establish this new fun hobby you want to do, maybe it's you want to read more. I mean, I know we always talk about the gym, but maybe it's you want to read more and expand your knowledge in some other way. It applies to that as well. Is you got to figure out what you're willing to give up in order to do something that you, at this point, think you want to do. Because it is a trade off. You do have to say no to something else if you say yes to one thing.
Or you just have to get
Yeah.
more efficient with everything else. And that's one that, like, that's something that I have a very low tolerance to, is the whole, like, I have no time thing. I don't have I don't have any dependents to take care of, so I'm not a parent or anything like that. But I think in general, people might just be struggling, not necessarily with, like, I don't have time, but maybe it's a stress tolerance thing too. Because just thinking about the responsibilities that they already have and then adding, something new on top of that might just be the thing that, like, overwhelms them and it boils over. And when you're stressed like that, you don't get anything done. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That I was trying to make excuses already for people with doing all that stuff, because I also have a very free schedule when it comes to that as well. But still, I have very, very full days, right? Because I fill it with stuff. No matter if you have kids or dogs or whatever, you fill your time, right? Most people have hectic lives, or like to themselves that I want to go do this, I want to go do that. So that's, yeah, I think it's a very good point. Like, whether you have all of these forced upon you positions or not, you have things that you do that take up your time. Now, if you're truly just laying around doing nothing, then that's just not an excuse. And that's kind of just a different motivation and drive topic, I guess. But people in these lives are very busy. And I think that's a good point. And I'll say it kind of a little more mean. Like, maybe you currently suck at the things you already do and you can get better at those so you can make time.
Yeah,
So
so you
that's the
guys both
efficiency
seem
thing.
to have kind of like a very similar answer. So like what would you suggest? What's the answer for them?
Pretty, at first, I would just say rack and stack. Like, if you really want to start hobby XYZ, what are you willing to give up? Like, I love Landman and I love Mayor of Kingstown and all that stuff. But there's sometimes I'm not fully caught up on this show that I love to watch because this takes precedence over that. I mean, it's truly like, what do you got to give things up?
Yeah, being directional matters, man. That's been a big focus in my past week for some reason. Like just making sure that whatever the thing you actually want is, yeah, you're kind of solving life based on that. If you're saying, hey, I want the gym right now, it's like, yeah, you're probably going to have to give that up. I can't remember exactly what you said, Corinne, but it reminded me of some clients. One of the strategies that I've kind of found with clients who have a hard time understanding the whole time management issue, which is like doing the hard thing, getting into it, and then they might not know that they actually have to sacrifice. It's almost like they've been comfortable for too long. And when you're too comfortable for too long, you forget that, right? And I find it's like you have to just subject them to almost like
Yeah.
worse sometimes so that they can fail, so that they can realize, oh, I have to give this up. Like I've seen that before with like cardio, for example. I'd be like, you have to hit 30 minutes, don't do cardio. People are like, don't have time. And again, we all know that's BS because people busier than them are managing whatever, if it's a family, if it's longer jobs, if it's 2 jobs, or if it's multiple responsibilities, they find their time for cardio. And then they say no. And then so you say, okay, well, then I'm going to get you to eat 1,200 calories a day. And they say, okay. And then they go through the crappiness of 1,200 calories a day. And they're like, okay, I guess I'm finding time for 30 minutes cardio. And I'm like, interesting. Interesting that now you're finding time for 30 minutes
Yeah.
cardio. I thought you said you had no time. Because if it was fundamentally true that you had no time, you can't find time.
Yeah.
So they have to confront them with themselves that they're just not willing
Yeah.
to find that time. Because I think that who said stress? I think it was Alex. You said stress. Basically, like they're
No,
just
I think it was
existing.
Corinne who
Was
said,
it
yeah,
Corinne?
there's the different
So you
stressors.
said
Yeah.
like, yeah. So you said like they're existing in the stress, right? And if that's how you're viewing your life, you can't solve that as an
Yeah.
objective thing because it's a feeling. How do you possibly tell somebody to like clear
Yeah.
their life when it's already crazy, right? It's like, yeah, there's
Prioritization.
nothing.
I don't know, like if you're at work and you have 1,000 things to do and you don't have enough time in a work day, call it 8 or 9 hours, to get all those things done, then you make a priority list and you're like, what are the need to haves and what are the nice to haves? And you just prioritize the first 3 things or whatever on that list. So even if you do have like a shit ton going on any given day, um, if you're fully booked up like at work and then you have an after work thing with coworkers that you have to attend for some reason, and you have your kids and your dog to walk and like all that stuff, but you also have this list of like action items that you have to hit to reach your goal, then maybe it's not, I'm going to actually have time to take like those, I don't know, call it arbitrarily 5 boxes for my fitness today, but which ones are the most important that I can prioritize for today?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of uh I think there's a lot of like, what do you call it? Introspection. People need to do a lot of honest like reflecting, because I think what you're really saying without knowing it maybe is that people's goals aren't maybe as important to them as they think they are, right? Because
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And then what happens is because that they don't come across this dilemma, right? Because they're like, they don't actually
Yeah.
want it. I've said this I'm gonna butcher my own phrase. This is a long time ago, and I used to tell it to people. I thought it was good, but it was something along the lines of like, if you're working hard, you'll do what it takes, and like if you're not working as hard as possible, somehow you'll always find the comfort of your own bed at night. You know what I mean? But you'll say that you're working as hard as possible, and that's kind of just my way of like thinking. Like, yeah, if you're sleeping comfortably, if you're pulling the covers up to your neck at like 9:30 p.m., like you're probably not working as hard as you could be.
9:30, that's late. But yeah,
Well, right. And again, there's nuance to this because I know that your butt's up at like 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
Korean often to get to the gym. So I do get that. But it's more like
yeah,
a
no.
thought process, a thought experiment, meaning like you could push harder. There's other things you could be doing. And
Well, it's the
so
guy lying in bed or the girl lying in bed with like, you could have done one more rep,
you
right?
could
Like all of that.
yeah. And that's it. Cause like the person who truly wants it finds the way. And that's not only like in time management, but obviously we see that in other things as well. Like we see that with strategies in terms of maintaining diet. We see that with strategies with, getting to the gym when they've had injuries. We've seen this, and you'll always see it, right? And I think that in coaching we end up solving problems too often for people who don't actually want the thing. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like if somebody wants to know what the date of Justin Bieber's birthday is, what do? They Google it. And you don't have to coach them through that. They Google it. But then if your client who doesn't want a diet doesn't have protein in the house and you told them to hit 140 grams of protein, then they're like, well, I don't have it. I'm going to eat this cake.
So I
Right.
have to have something.
Right. And it's like,
Fuel
well,
my workout.
why don't you just Google what to do when you have no protein? And then it could be like, go to the gas station, get a bag of beef jerky, but they're not looking for the answer because they don't want it. So I think that this, although we're not really talking right now specifically about time management, I think that the underlying asterisk to understanding time management is that you have to be truthful with yourself about whether or
Yeah,
not
it's
you
kind
want
of
to do
like,
this thing.
Yeah.
sorry, Alex. I was just gonna say,
Go for it, Corinne. No,
it's
you're
like,
good. I was gonna go
Steve,
off
you
yours.
always say, what is it? You're like, you always give this analogy of like, oh, like, do I want a Bugatti? And you're like, yeah, sure. Like, if somebody wants to give me a Bugatti, yeah, like, fuck yeah, I'll take it. But am I gonna actually do what it takes to own it? Like, do all the work of getting all the money myself to get it? No. So because
Yep. No.
I don't really want it that
I
much.
don't want it that bad.
And so if somebody, right? And so if I hired a coach, and this is the problem because a lot of people don't understand that maybe it's just like, again, low awareness or something like that. Maybe I'm hoping because it would make sense to me that a lot of people don't actually understand they don't want the Bugatti. But so what they're doing is they're hiring a
Yeah.
coach to get them the Bugatti. And then the coach is saying, do these things, and then they don't do them. Because if I hired a coach to get me a Bugatti, I wouldn't do the work.
Yeah, he'd be like,
I'd
dude,
be
don't
like,
sleep.
you know
Sell
what
all
Yeah.
this
words?
all
I'd have
night. Yeah.
I'd have 3 words that I'd tell him by the end of today. You know what they'd be? I'm too busy.
I don't have time.
That's what I'd tell him. I'm too busy. I don't have time. Those are the words I spit out because I don't value the thing. So that's why I think
Yeah, as much as I think I do.
right. Yeah, exactly. Because we want it. And that's the biggest thing. So there's a lot of wants and needs, and it's a lot of mincing words and stuff. So I don't want to get caught in that. But I just want to make sure that people know, like, when I'm saying want, I mean like wish for, right? Like frivolously desire, right? And then need, as when I mean need, I don't mean like existentially. I mean need as in like, no, it's now something that my brain has decided for me. You know what I mean? It's like having a life change, and nobody will know that but you. Like, and that's the catch. Like, nobody will know, and when you do know, you'll act. So then once we kind of break this ice, I guess the next part of the conversation is, if we're talking to people on the other side of the fence where they have had that life, that value changing life event, whatever it could be, because it can be anything. It can be super, super small. It can just be like a thought that just never leaves your head, or it could be like a loved one dying or something like that that changes, or a near life experience, or sorry, near death experience that changes their value center, right? Or system rather. And if we're talking to the people who've had that, what would be the advice you'd give them to manage their time when they're really actually looking to do that?
That becomes so much easier because I think they'll naturally cut out something that, like, it just starts to replace it. automatically. If they truly need it at that point, it doesn't become an issue whatsoever.
Isn't it super
It's
interesting?
wild.
Just
Yeah,
by
exactly.
eliminating that
Like,
one little thing, we just changed the conversation.
Yeah.
yeah,
Isn't I think
wants and
that's
needs.
right, because like what are we solving for here? A lot of people think they're solving for time management, and it's like we're not. We're actually
Yeah.
talking about values. Because if a person
Yeah,
values a thing, they'll find the
priorities.
time, right? So it is an interesting conversation. Like you can talk about expectations because within that, if a person doesn't value it, can they still get a result? For sure. Like if I want a Bugatti and I'm not willing to do it, can I still buy a Ford Focus? Yes. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna do that, and I'm gonna like bring those expectations down and get a Ford Focus.
yeah,
Cool, I'm
yeah,
okay with that. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, okay, so you want to look like Chris Hemsworth? Yes. Okay. Well, you wake up and you eat cupcakes. Okay. So Jack Black? Okay. So
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
we're gonna dial that
I
down a
have
little
a
bit, right?
body.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
so expectations conversation, right? Like realigning those is kind of paramount. But if we're talking to people who've had that life shift, I honestly think it all comes down to specificity. Just being like, what's the thing? And like you said rack and stack, right? Just being like, let's just move forward and actually try to be as specific as possible. And then actually employ certain implementations. I'm sure Corinne, you'd be awesome at talking about this just because you try to manage like what is it? You're at 77,000 steps a day in counting. And it's like when you do so many things, you kind of have to learn how to habit stack. You kind of have to learn how to get rid of like
Yeah.
null time, right? Like what are some things that you found have been helpful for you because you're a person on that side of the category?
Well, for me, it's kind of like if I'm not working, I'm usually doing something that is related to the fitness part of my life. So, and that's not to say like that I don't get any, like, I still get to watch my TV shows and get my steps at the same time. And if I don't have to hit as many steps, then I get to sit down more while I watch my TV shows. Like, that's the only difference, really. Um, so, like, wake up earlier to make the time if that's what you need to do. Use up your lunch break if you're a person who works a 9 to 5, like most people do. Um, I don't sit down and eat lunch with my coworkers. I go take a walk. Um, and also kind of understand, and like if you're someone that has had that life shift and will naturally just like prioritize the fitness over other things, then like you probably will end up saying no to going out with friends on a Friday night, going out for some drinks every week. Like they're things that you're naturally going to probably say no to. But if you like, you're kind of going to have to, even if you don't want to say no sometimes, if what you want really is what you want. So,
Yeah, you know what you're talking. I was thinking actually as you're talking because I think that we missed out on one small little or not demographic, but like avatar of person. I'm gonna throw this to Alex. What are your thoughts about the person who has had the life change, but they lack the confidence because they've never done it,
Oh, that's the whole confidence before competence,
right?
competence
Yeah,
before
exactly.
confidence.
Yeah, because it's interesting,
I,
right?
I
'Cause
mean,
I've had
yeah,
clients like that, right? And they need some help because they're on the knife's edge, right? So like a bad experience can actually make them not necessarily revert, but delay, or it could ruin the experience and then they start building internal narratives, right?
yeah. I think to me, this is one of the easier and more enjoyable things about gym and gym culture and fitness culture, right? If I don't know something at work and I'm in the dark, happens all the time. That's a much scarier and a lot of times less supportive environment to make a mistake at like your day job, your 9 to 5, like where you're making decisions and or have to provide data. If that's wrong, you're going to either get called out, there are sometimes consequences, you have to redo work, all of that kind of stuff. In the gym, if you're doing something wrong but you're in there moving and trying, it's so supportive from a standpoint of if you want help, everyone is so willing to at least, right? We all know it. Everybody will offer their advice whether you want it
Yep.
or not. But in the gym, they're
Three of
excited to
us,
see
right?
you trying, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I can't speak for the broccolis out there, but I know that like there's the demographic that's not them definitely is there to help. What did I think Williamson said it on the Modern Wisdom podcast about, I think it's the bystander effect, is that everybody is a bystander in somebody else's. Is it the bystander? It's one of those things, but basically it's the everybody's a bystander in somebody else's life, right? So, but the problem is we all think that we're the main character in other people's lives, which means that if you, Alex, go into the gym today and let's just say you're extremely self-conscious and you are going to think that he's looking at you,
nobody cares.
they're also thinking that people are going to look at them, and everybody's thinking that people are going to look at them, but everybody's just so in their own business because of the exact same reason, because they're thinking about themselves, that
Yeah.
nobody's looking at anybody. It's only the extremely arrogant, and we don't care about them anyways, that would even bother trying, and they're the ones that we don't care about, right? Which is so ironic, because it's like the only people who are going to give judgment are the people that we don't want judgment from. So what the hell does it matter? He kind of just doubles down on that.
Yeah, that's why that the in this aspect of the gym, and I realize that once you get start advancing, and we've talked about it in the levels edition of the podcast and things like that. Yes, you want to move more properly once you start advancing to actually grow muscle or get joints working properly and all of that. But for me, this is like just being in there, and being there consistently builds your confidence so much more than being competent at a certain movement or anything
Yeah,
like that. And
I
then
love
we'll
the
graduate to move better.
Yeah, I love that you said that, man, because that's what I was going to say. That was my piece of advice for that kind of person, the person who's on the knife's edge, very delicate emotionally, but again, has had the value shift to want to change in regards to time management, is that I think it's all rooted in confidence. And what happens is somebody who has low confidence, they believe they have low ability, right? And so it's like they've never done, so therefore everything, the stress of it all is so much
Mhm.
higher, right? So going back to what Corinne said in the very beginning, like if you tell them to weigh their food, like how much time does it actually take to weigh their food? It doesn't take any time at all. It literally takes no time. The beef is still going in my bowl. So it's taking no time. It just goes in the bowl with the scale. But what's happening is there's more computing going up here, so it stresses them out, right? And they have no confidence in it actually giving them a result. So there's no, for lack of a better term, there's no gamification happening yet to like make this process enjoyable, right? And the gamification would be like, hey, I saw weight loss, this is cool, or I saw muscle growth, right? It's like, hey, bro, you should probably track your weights and reps. It's like, well, what does it matter? I'm just going in there and working hard. It's like, well, yeah, because you want to see progress, right? And you want to actually see what's going on, and like measure the effects of like your outside variables and how that comes into your recovery and your progress the day to day. But they don't want to do it because they've never actually held consistent long enough. So it's just a reminder of their inconsistencies. So it's a confidence thing. So I would say to those kind of people, like it all comes down to understanding that it's kind of a bad way of giving them a piece of advice, because the answer is to do, right? Like you
Mhm.
just got to do it, and you have to go in there and do it. And then because you do it and you commit fully, even if it's just the smallest little thing, it's like commit literally to no Twinkies this week or to no beer this week. And then what happens is you see amazing results, and then celebrate the success. And what you'll notice, in my opinion, is that you'll open yourself up to the possibility of time being everywhere, because time is linked with value. And so if time is linked with value, you've now created that value for that thing because you know that it's getting you results. It's like, look, I committed to 5 minutes extra cardio. And if you know how to link that with its objective outcome, so what are the things that can move from cardio? You could drop your blood pressure. You could drop your resting heart rate. You could drop a little bit of weight. You could drop inflammation. You could just feel better. You could sleep better. For men, there are some cool things that you can do in terms of longevity. There's VO2 max slightly. You could even just warm up and have a more effective session. And if you're smart enough to link that to the item, then you celebrate it, and it's like, wow, I did this, I'm successful. But that makes sense. You see where I'm going with
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, I think so much in any hobby, especially fitness, is just show up for a while. Just keep showing up, right? Like I used to not enjoy reading, but I was like, reading's probably going to be good for me eventually. And yeah, I read a chapter a night and it puts me right to sleep. Helps me sleep better even in that aspect, let alone like doing actual exercise and cardio and all these things, but
Just pure
you
smut.
got to keep showing up. Dude, I have plenty of friends who are like, "Have you read Akatar?" And I say, "Absolutely not." Like they're just like going down the rabbit holes, and I'm like, "Nope, I'm not there yet.
That's awesome. What are you
Just
reading?
let me be a scared little man. I don't want all that in my face."
What are you actually reading right now? Anything good?
I finished Red Rising all the way through. We're on book 6 now, and so I started. Um, so George R. R. Martin obviously did Game of Thrones, but a lot of his inspiration came from the Accursed King series. So I started those. So I was
Very
like, oh,
cool.
these are cool.
Can you
Yeah.
send me those? I'm looking for
Yeah.
something to get into. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, like I'm not sure if there's anything more. I think we've covered it. Like, but I do think that the time management thing is interesting, and I think that maybe the last thing, maybe we have 5 minutes to go over it with, would be just like again, to kind of double down on the stress of the event. In my opinion, to kind of say what I would say about it is that stress doesn't make make the event real. Right? Just because somebody's stressed does not make it true. And I think that that's what ends up happening because that they're not able to separate reality from the stress. I'm sure you guys have heard about how, like, if you're what was it if you're like if you're in a highly emotional state, just give yourself time between the emotional state and the action that you take, right? Create some space so that you can understand that there's now a possibility for logic to kind of seep its way in, right? And sometimes it takes longer. Like, I've had clients send me messages before, and I know my impulsive action would be like, "Ah, you're fired." like, you're gone. And I literally have to be like checking in with myself almost 5 minutes for the first hour. And then sometimes I still don't text them because I'm like, if I still text them, my answer is wrong. I know my answer is wrong, right? Like, I know it. And then, like, I feel that's pretty cool of me to have learned that, because 10 years ago I'd have been like, again. And then sometimes it's like I have to sleep on it because I'm like, I still can feel that my answer is not right because there's something else that's like seeping into my response, and I just don't text them back until the next day. A lot of people, when they're stressed about something, they just create the action so quickly because the stress makes the event real, and then it actually does become real because they make something that's life altering. And I don't mean life altering in terms of like, oh my god, you changed your life. I mean life altering in that moment, meaning like they're like, I'm stressed, so therefore I'm hungry, so therefore, yeah, the only thing is a Whopper, and they go through a burger. And it's like, no, but like, you didn't have to do that. Like, you can just, there's usually the Burger King right across from a gas station, so you could have just walked in there and actually got the trail mix, right? Or you could
Mhm.
have gotten like the beef jerky. But it's, again, the lack of space. And so my point is, like, the stress doesn't make the event real, and it doesn't make the person going through it any more justified, right? Or any more special, or the fact that they're going through it doesn't make them doesn't make it harder. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big thing. Is I've found people who go through more stress, subjective stress, they think it actually is harder for them than other people. And I would actually argue the exact opposite, like the exact opposite. And I think it's actually very arguably true that it's the exact opposite, because people who don't act because they're limited in stress, they're usually at step one. You know what I mean? And like, step one would be like level one in Mario. They're on Mario and they keep on dying because of the turtle. Like, that's it. Run into the turtle, they die. And then they're like, ah, and then they flip out and they're stressed out. So they keep on repeating the same mistakes, right? And then their argument is that level one is harder than level 99
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
which is objectively not true.
which is
Yeah.
objectively not true. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because they've been limited in their progression based on stress. Where the other person who's like, no, 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 what did I do wrong? Right? Reflection. I didn't jump. The turtle's in my way. I probably should have hit that button. So then they do it, and then they move forward and they build the skill set. And this is actually turning into being a very apt metaphor. They build the skill set to get through later levels in life. In this, it's like, if weighing your food is the biggest concern you have, wait until you find out what, like, spaghetti squash is. Wait until you find out, like, that you can't have these foods, and you have to, like, walk on a treadmill, and you have to not
Yeah.
sleep, and
Yeah.
wait until you smell
Yeah.
water. You know
I
what I
guess
mean?
by
It's like,
Yeah.
by analogy, like
yeah.
just by analogy with business, I guess it's you do stuff all the time at work that would stress you out, or even at school. Like, if you're like, public speaking is one that so many people, including myself, struggle with. Social anxiety, like get really freaking anxious before giving a presentation, that sort of thing. But I've spoken with like executive level business people that I work with and talked about that, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the first time that I gave a presentation in front of like this set of people, I literally threw up before going up there." And now look at where they are. Like they built the
They don't
stress
think anything of
tolerance.
it.
You
Yeah,
get better
it's
every
just a
time
never
you
know.
matter
do it,
of
and then you get to a point where
repetition.
you're comfortable with it.
That's all it is, man. It's all it is. Reps, 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 reps. Whether or not it's with a dumbbell or whether or not it's putting
Yeah.
beef in a bowl and weighing it, right? It's all that stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen that. You ever seen those memes that go around about how like when you, or not meme, but videos when you weigh your beef or weigh your chicken and you can tell exactly it's 200 grams. I've done that a bunch. That's like I could do
Yeah,
that all
you
the
know what it
time
looks
now. Like,
like.
right? Because you just get your reps. That's why I
Yeah.
also know when people are cheating on the diet because I'm like, I know you're not doing this. I think it's adorable when clients that I know that like, don't know how to move properly and talk about how they need to bread their chicken or something like that because it doesn't taste good. Tell me that they
Yeah.
hit their macros perfectly. I'm like, I'm sure you do.
Like,
I'm
I saw
sure you
that
do.
Yeah.
picture of food that you
Yeah.
You know what I
posted.
mean?
That
It's
was
like,
not
It's all
100
about
grams of
base
rice.
adding though.
yeah, it's like I literally
Yeah.
saw you like
Yeah.
YOLOing this morning at Denny's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all right, let's do this. Guys, this is a good one.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
thought
this
it
is
was
gonna be
awesome.
weekly. This is gonna be weekly, which is amazing. I'm looking forward to it. It's a little quick, which is good. But yeah, we're gonna make sure these are weekly. And also I'm going solo every week as well. So basically it'd be like bi-weekly, like in the sense of twice a week. You guys are also welcome to join me on that. I don't know how we can change the format. I'm just trying to make the other side of it, just so anybody who wants to tune in for that, I'm trying to make the solo one just be very, very specific and instructional. And I think that, well, I wanted to do that just because I feel like I have something to offer there. I love when we are all talking because look at this. Alex recording has stopped. Alex, you're gone. I don't know why you left.
Trying to call me. They tried to call me. Somebody tried to call me. I hung up on them.
Okay.
That's the other side of
Maybe you're
being on
back.
the phone.
Are you back? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
back. Okay. So I was
I'm
gonna
back.
say is I love our conversations here because it's more of an anecdotal kind of thing. Like we've all been through it, right? So that's why I like the idea of a second one because it's like here's the anecdotal thing and then here's some actual like conversation and here's some strategies to get people through on a less anecdotal side, but more like, no, these are the things we do, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to
Yeah.
pop in for that, I'll always let you know when I'm gonna go. I'm thinking probably like Thursday night, but I'm not sure yet. So, but I can let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, guys. I'm not
Good
sure if you're
one.
popping on the school account one or not, but I'm heading over there right now.
Check it out.
I'm on
So
it.
See you.
Deuces.
see you in 3 minutes.